Christy Eshelman with Hajias Wellness. So today it's going to be a little different. I'm just wanting to talk to you guys a little today. Yesterday I was doing the Couch to 5K. I was doing our 7-minute run, and I was actually taping it, so I'll show that to you guys. Hopefully, if I can get it uploaded. I was taping it on the Kindle. I run through my house. It'd be a little odd because I do have a treadmill, but I find it more freeing to run through my house, and so I wanted to tape that. My kids find it a little odd, my husband does, and my pets do, because they judge me. They look at me and they judge me. And so I thought it might be a little entertaining to watch me run through the house. I accept my weirdness. It's who I am. So I thought I would share that. But what happened though after I ran, I mean literally it was even towards the end of the run, I got this pain right across my mouth, and I get these at times. It just happens, and it's right across the top. And yes, I'm wearing gloves. Yay, it's that time of year. Raynaud's season. Woo woo. So if you don't know what Raynaud's is, I get the blood flow just does not happen for the hands. So I have really poor circulation, and I have passed this down to my children. So I think both girls do have it as well. We're diagnosed with it. So, but these gloves are awesome. So if anyone else has Raynaud's or even arthritis, because I do have arthritis in my hands too. So when I get the arthritis pain, it helps with that as well. I love these things. And there's been times like when the snow first hit and we were getting ready to leave to go get groceries, I panicked because I was like, where's my gloves? I can't find them. I was panicking because I couldn't find them. Because if you have Raynaud's, you know what I mean, because it's horrible, painful, because they go completely numb. And then on top of it, have diabetes and try to, prick your fingers when your hands are completely white and numb with no blood flow. Try to get blood. No fun. It's no fun at all. So I'm gonna pull it up so I don't have the glare, but so yay. It's that time of year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And I used to love fall. Ellis Denless, love you. You bring me such joy. Sarcasm. But anyways, and mast cell. That's what this is, because I think that's what it was, because as soon as this pain hit, it was like right above the teeth, and I just started praying, like, please Jesus, make this go away. And it did start to relieve. Praying did help some, but it was still there, and it was horrible. And then all of a sudden, my nose started running out, sneeze. I'm like, what the heck? And I was like, this has to be my mast cell. And if you don't know what mast cell is, I have MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, which means it's the activation of IgE. So it really just activates the granules that release histamine and the allergens. And for us, it's just really releases that into your body. So you're just like hyperhistamine, allergen, ball of nothing but allergen in your system. Poof. So when things are released in the environment, it's like you're hypersensitive, even more so than a normal person. That's just, I don't know how I lucked out and was so blessed with this, but you just have to laugh at things. And I'm so blessed with some of my friends, like Penny, and some of it we can just talk about our illnesses, and they help me to just learn to laugh at things, and you just have to, because if you don't, you get really depressed about things. You really will. And I can kind of feel it start to tingle up here, but since yesterday on, my eyes are watery. It's just been horrible. So I emailed my rheumatologist, told him, I'm like, help, help. I just, had a sinus infection on my back, and I emailed him, and I was just talking to him about it, and he's like, do you want antibiotic? And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I was like, yes, thank you. And then he sent me a steroid too, and I'm like, why did he send me that? And I was like, oh yeah, myself. Duh. Thank God for him. See, he's on top of it, and being a nurse, I should realize that, but didn't even think about it. But this is, sinus infection is gone. That was like last week. I'm like, I really don't want to be on steroids again because it's not good on my liver. But then the mast cell, it's just a vicious cycle. It really is. But I tell you, I gotta keep on exercising, gotta keep my focus. And that's what I just felt led. I'm like, all right, God, what should I just talk about? And I was looking at some things that I had wrote in my journal, like a few years back. And excuse me, I'm just gonna take a water break, everybody grab your water. But I wrote on affliction. So I thought, you know what a better time than just to talk about that. And if you do see me put this on, it's because I'm starting to get a tickle, and I really don't want to start sneezing and have a major attack on you. It's not because I'm like, oh, look at Christy, she's so pro-mask and excited about it, she just wants to wear it. But hey, it's Taco Tuesday, guys. So at least I'm appropriate and having some humor for you. So once again, you gotta laugh at things. Take some joy in life, okay? So if you see me put that on, it's because I'm trying to avoid sneezing constantly, and I don't want to be like snotty and looking all hot with my snot as I'm trying to talk to you. It's really hot. So, but let's talk about affliction, because I know I'm not the only one who's probably going through something. And whether it be physical, or you could be going through something emotional. Affliction is anything that can afflict you. So grab a pen and some paper and get ready to take some notes, because I got a couple points that I think are really good that you might want to write down. So let's just start off here with a verse, and grab your Bible and let's go to Psalm 25. I'm going to turn here myself. Psalm 25, 1, 11, 22. And it starts here, and it's David. And David wrote a lot of the Psalms in here. And he goes, let's see, 1 through 11. So, to you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. In you I trust, my God. Do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me. No one whose hope is in you will ever be put to shame. But they will be put to shame who are treacherous without excuse. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God, my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Remember, O Lord, your great mercy and love, for they are from old. Remember not sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. According to your love, remember me, for you are good, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore he instructs sinners in his ways. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his ways. All the ways of the Lord are loving and faithful, for those who keep the demands of his covenant. For the sake of your name, O Lord, forgive my iniquity, though it is great. For who then is the man that fears the Lord? He will instruct him in the way chosen for him. He will spend his days in prosperity, and his descendants will inherit the land. The Lord confides in those who fear him. That's kind of cool. It says right there, the Lord confides in those who fear him. So it kind of makes you feel like, you're his friend because he confides in you. So it's not just like a one-way conversation. He also confides in you. That's kind of a cool little verse right there. He makes his covenant known to them. My eyes are ever on the Lord, for only he will release my feet from the snare. Turn to me and be gracious to me, for I am lonely and afflicted. See right there, for I am lonely and afflicted. The troubles of my heart have multiplied. Free me from my anguish. Look upon my affliction and my distress, and take away all my sins. See how my enemies have increased, and how fiercely they hate me. Guard my life and rescue me. Let me not be put to shame, for I take refuge in you. And that reminds me of Psalm 91, where it says we take refuge in him. May integrity and uprightness protect me, because my hope is in you. Redeem Israel, God, from all their troubles. Okay, so point number 1 right here, if you want to write that down and put a number 1, an affliction is something that can make you feel alone. And I'll repeat that. For number 1, an affliction is something that can make you feel alone. And the verse where it said, and if you took note, on Psalm 25, so 16 and through 17, it said, turn to me and be gracious to me, for I am lonely and afflicted. The troubles of my heart have multiplied. So, have you ever felt that way? So, like trouble and affliction, both of those, they're kind of the same if you think about it. Being afflicted, being troubled. And it says right there, his troubles multiplied. Have you ever felt like your afflictions have multiplied? Like I just told you a minute ago, mine all of a sudden multiplied. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how many more? Like when they told me, oh no, you got diabetes too. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? How many things am I gonna be diagnosed with? It just kept multiplying. But the enemy just love that for you just to feel like overwhelmed and just want to give up and not fight. He'd love that. But you're not a quitter. I think when I look through here, I can see a warrior, I can see a fighter in the heart of each and every one of you. Because you're not a quitter. How many times has God said in his word to stand firm? And how many times has he also said to be still and the Lord will fight for you? So there's a lot of times you don't even have to do anything. But there's a lot of times we feel like we have to, don't we? We feel like we got to do everything in our own strength. Because we've had to fight all our lives to do everything. To fight. Because our whole life's been a struggle. We don't know anything but to fight and do everything in our own strength. So letting go of that control is hard. Especially to someone who's we can't see. And we're like, really? How am I supposed to let go of that? How am I supposed to trust someone I can't see? And that's where we have to learn to walk by faith, not by sight. And to understand that we gotta let someone love us we can't see because we need to get in the Word and read. It's like a love story. You don't just read it like, I'm just gonna read this book, because it's an actual living Word. I can't tell you how many times I just open up that book. I'm having a rough day, and it just speaks to me, speaks to my heart, directly to me and to my situation. That's why it's called a living Word. And when you get to know God, you're going to get to know Him by reading about Him, by reading how much He loves you, how much He's fought for you, reading how He knit you in your womb, in your mother's womb. He knew you before you were even born. He knows every number of hairs on your head. He has your name written on the palm of His hand. He has every tear you've cried in a bottle. I mean, all these things are in this book, guys. It's all in the Bible. I'm not making it up. I mean, you can read it for yourselves. It's all there. And it's all in how you read it. And that's why it says it's like a double-edged sword, piercing into the marrow. It goes right into the heart. But enough of that. So trouble or affliction, and no one likes the word affliction. And if you go to affliction in the Hebrew definition, it's called a state of oppression or extreme discomfort, physically, mentally, or spiritually. So the Hebrew definition is a state of oppression or extreme discomfort, physically, mentally, or spiritually. Another water break. So let's go to John 16:33. He says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble. Trouble. In this world you will have trouble. In this world you will have affliction. But take heart. I have overcome the world. But take heart. I have overcome the world. So let's go to point number 2. An affliction is anything that afflicts. Just plain and simple. An affliction is anything that afflicts. Now, I don't know if you want me to hit every one of these verses, but I got a lot of verses here because there are so many examples of people in the Bible that were afflicted. And I could give you tons of examples, but there's just a few that I got written down here. Now, you guys remember Hagar. Maybe some of you haven't even heard of Hagar. But if you go to Genesis and you've read about Hagar and her story, oh my gosh, poor Hagar. I mean, it just breaks your heart. She was guess you're a slave to Sarah. And see, if you go to Genesis 16:11, you'll read about Hagar's affliction. Hagar's trouble. But she was afflicted. And when she cried out to God, she even gave him a name. She gave God a new name, El Roi. And it's written in the Bible. And then if we go to also Genesis 29:32, you're going to read about Leah and her affliction. Because Leah, and that's another one that breaks your heart. If you've ever been rejected, if you have a root of rejection in your life, read about Leah. You will so resonate with her. And that is Genesis 29:32. And then we go to Exodus, which you've got to be familiar with Exodus. And the Israelites, how they wandered for the 40 years, wandering around the mountain. They were afflicted. They had trouble. They were afflicted. So that was Exodus 3, chapter 3, verses 7 through 8. And you can read about that one, where the Israelites had an affliction. Oh, and then if we go back also to Genesis chapter 41:42, Jacob's affliction. You can't forget about Jacob. That's a good one. Don't forget Jacob. And then also Psalm 9:13. If you've ever felt hated by people, that's a good one to read. That's a type of affliction, being hated. To feel that. And let's see, Isaiah 48:10. Let's read that one. This will be a good one at the end. It's a refining, affliction, discipling process. See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Isn't that interesting? So I guess when you're going through an affliction, or you're being afflicted, think about that as a refining process. So you're not being refined as silver. You're being tested in the furnace, but just think, I'm going to come out as gold, not as silver. I better be coming out as gold. But just be like, all right, thanks God, I'm going to come out as gold. I'm trusting you. Just like when they say, you know what, Christy, there's no cure for Ehlers-Danlos, and a lot of people are like, yeah, people die in their early 40s. You know, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, I'm crying, all depressed. Oh. And I remember my youngest son sitting in the back seat of the car going, you know what, Mom, if I die tomorrow, I'll be fine because I know I'm going to go to heaven. You know what? That was like a slap in the face. And that put my head in the right, it centered me because I was like, you know what? I could die in a car crash today, tomorrow. Who am I to sit here and mope and weep about this? You know what? And it got my head on straight. My little, I think he was like 8, 9 then. And, you know, and all I was focused on these words of the internet about people's life expectancy for my illness to be in their 40s. And look at me, I'm 44 now. I'm probably living past the age expectancy of this stuff. Woo, I'm gonna live further too. And I hear my mom sometimes talking, you know, and she's already planning her death, got everything, and I'm like, you know, and I know she worries about me getting all upset if she dies, and I probably will, and I know God's preparing me for that, but at the same time, and I tell her, I'm like, Mom, you need to think beyond that, and I don't think God's done with you. And she's lived further than anybody in her family, and I think she thinks that she's not going to, but at the same time, I'm like, no, Mom, you gotta think positive, like, yeah, I am. And that's how I want to think, because I think our mindset is what changes with a lot of things, and how you think things. I really do believe that, because if you think negative and you project negative, I think that kills your body. What you think in your mind, it affects your body. I truly believe that. But if you think happy, joy spills out of your body. If you're like, yeah, I'm gonna live, I'm gonna keep on living, I feel younger. I do. I'm up here bouncing around with my granddaughter. We can play, we can jump. And I'm doing things in like some exercises that my older daughter can do. I was like, wow, really? That surprised me. I was like, wow. Me, with a sickness that couldn't do much. But you know what? It's not through my own strength. I gotta give the big guy upstairs, because it's through him. It's all through him. And I give him all the glory. I have to. Because he's refining me. I know the ways that I did before that were wrong, and this time I want to do it right. So, and that's where we step into next. Affliction, Hebrew definition, to try to force submission. And what was I just talking about? Yeah, he forced me into submission. Oh, that's so ironic. But yeah, workaholic me. Workaholic Christy, who wouldn't slow down, who wouldn't quit, who would not spend time with her family or slow down. God threw me out in the desert. I read Hosea and I resonated with that. If you haven't read Hosea, read it, because I felt like God threw me out in the desert and then he just wanted to woo me back to him, because I had put my job as an idol. I put everything else before him, and my family too. And shame on me. I mean, I shouldn't shame on myself. I learned that too. Not to be shaming on myself. So, sorry, God. I'm sorry. I'm learning. I'm trying to get better at that. But it's, something trying to get you to submit by force. So I'll read that again in case you didn't write that down. But affliction is Hebrew definition to try to force submission. And something trying to get you to submit by force. And that takes us to number 3. Affliction always involves submission. mission. Boy, does it. Oh. And you know, I just noticed I'm not sneezing. I'm so happy right now. Guys, I'm so happy. Oh, pray to be delivered. Yes. I tell you what, I can't tell you how many times I prayed and I always heard from God, you gotta wait. Not yet. Maybe you'll be able to work when your son graduates. We'll see. You might get some healing. Not yet. And I'd be like, oh, really? And you know, I had people pray on me and not much, you know. But that doesn't mean you stop. Keep praying. Keep moving forward. You don't give up. Just keep praying. You know, I still would do things at home and I got to know my kids so well. I got to know that, you know, they're all different. Each child had different personalities and boy, we did things at home together and, you know, it's great. I got to know their friends. You know, everybody would call me mom and then I would pray that God would let me know things and then sometimes their friends would be the ones being like, oh, I think you should know this. Yeah, they'd tell me things. Well, I told them later, but you know, as they're older. And the siblings would tattle on each other. It was good stuff. But yeah, it's all good. God always tells you, but through other ways. But he always lets you know he's good. But anyways, pray to be delivered. If you go to 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 10. I'm probably starting to take up a lot of time in this. I'm a chatty girl today. Godly sorrow brings repentance that leads to salvation and leaves no regret, but worldly sorrow brings death. Godly sorrow brings repentance that leads to salvation and leaves no regret, but worldly sorrow brings death. So just say, deliver me. He sees and hears our afflictions. He knows everything. So, I mean, it's not like he doesn't see. Remember, he sees, he knows everything, even before it happens. Nothing takes him by surprise. And just remember, are you kneeling to the affliction or the deliverer? Are you kneeling to the affliction or the deliverer? It's just something to think on. And there's something else. Remember that, let's see, 3 John 2. Beloved, I pray you may prosper in every way. And be in health is an added one on there. I just put that. So increase your faith. So, and every time you get upset, just remember this, okay? It takes a toll on your body. So remember, whatever's in you will come out. Remember, our health is important and the devil is not going to steal our health. So Luke 18:27, what is possible for man, God is not going to do. And remember, write down these verses, John 13:17 and John 10:10. Those are a couple of important verses. Help your health. If you give more mercy, be more merciful. Joy helps. Laughing helps. Remember the joy. of the Lord is your strength. Joy is God's will. Joy is your strength. You can be happy because you decide to be, forgetting what lies behind. Christians should look happy. Smile. Remember, the corners should be lifted. Philippians 4:4 and Colossians 3:4-4. So Philippians 4:4 and Colossians 3:4-4. Set your mind, keep them set on what is above. So those are just a couple other things I had written down just for you guys there. And I always get up early before everyone to think and set my alarm. And this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Set your alarm and learn to set your mind. Learn to make your mind up to do it. Not try or think about it, but make your mind up. Don't be feeling oriented. Start a habit. And exercise. Moving the body, working that stress out. So those are just some things I had written down, and I was like in one of my older notes, and I just wanted to share that with you. Just because I was having an afflicted day myself. So, oh my gosh, it's like a 36-minute video. You guys, thank you for just enjoying this nice long video of me talking about afflictions. Oh, there, take the shiny eyes away now that I'm not reading. Blind. Taco Tuesday. Thank you. I appreciate your time, I really do. And I just wanted to say, I hope you guys have a really good day. And just once again, I thank you for your time. And you guys are a blessing to me. And I'm trying to grab my stuff there so I can turn you off. But once again, thank you for your time. Take care.